As you know, the US and other countries are spending gigantic amounts of money and printing gigantic amounts of money. Nothing like this ever happened in world history. World history does show us that this always leads to problems down the road. Michelle, this is a good time to be old because the old people aren't going to have to pay for all of this. It's a bad time to be young. I've got 2 young daughters. They're inheriting gigantic problems, the likes of which the world has never seen. This is not going to be fun for somebody. History is very clear about that. I've been listening to central bank heads for decades. They all are absurd. I mean, there've only been 1 or 2 sound central bank heads in my lifetime. They have government jobs. They want to keep their government jobs. And the way to keep their government jobs is to do things that in the long run are foolish, such as run up debt and print a lot of money. Well, the head of the American Central Bank says it is. The head of the American Treasury says it's okay.
Right.
She has a couple of fancy Ivy League degrees. He's got a very important post. If you accept what they say, then fine. I happen to have read more history than they have, I guess, or at least I'm not trying to keep a government job. Well, it's not just the US, the UK, Japan, other countries are doing it. Nobody's saying it out loud that we accept MMT, more money today, but no, it is a fact of reality. And as I said, Michelle, it's not good to be young anywhere in the world these days because they're all playing this game. None of them have to worry about it because in 20 years, they'll all be long gone, even in 10 years. But somebody's going to pay a terrible price for this. At least that's what history shows. 100 years ago, the UK was the richest, most powerful country in the world. There was no number 2. And 50 years later, they were bankrupt. Literally, the IMF had to fly into London airport and bail them out. That's how it works. You just spend a lot of money that you don't have, and eventually there comes a time when the market says, we're not going to play this game anymore. And that's what happened to the UK. That's what's happened to everybody in the history of the world. And that's what will happen in the US. I doubt if it's going to take 50 years at the rate we're going. As Mr. Powell says, they're doing huge numbers. And everybody's doing it. I mean, at the Bank of Japan, he goes to work every day early because he's a good Japanese bureaucrat. He says he's going to print unlimited, that's his word, unlimited amounts of money, and he's doing it. I mean, you think it's bad to be a young American, it's bad to be a young Japanese too. To the US dollar for political reasons. You know, the international currency is supposed to be a neutral currency, but if you offend Washington, they put sanctions on you and you can't use the dollar. And some countries will say, wait a minute, that's not how this is supposed to work. So they are looking for a more neutral international currency. We don't have it yet. So for political reasons, people are looking for a competitor to the dollars, and for economic reasons. As I said, the US is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and it's getting better every day, getting worse every day. Well, that is a good point that everybody's doing this. As I said, the Bank of Japan prints as fast as he can, but so do the English, everybody's doing this. And that's a very good point that all paper money, all currencies are under pressure, and that maybe we're all just going to collapse together. But eventually, the market says, I don't want your money anymore. I don't want your paper money. At least history shows that. Eventually, they're going to use something else. Well, history shows that, silver, gold, people. I'm a peasant, Michelle. All of us peasants know that when something goes wrong, we want some silver in the closet. We want some gold under the bed. Politicians say, forget gold. It's meaningless. Bureaucrats say, well, I'm an old peasant, and all of us old peasants know, okay, fine, but just in case, I'm going to have some silver under the bed. Maybe it'll be something else, but so far history shows you better have something sound and useful. The definition is internationally recognizable, easily transportable, that the world will accept. Well, in my view, no, and I've never bought or sold any cryptocurrencies. Obviously, I wish I had, Michelle. I mean, what's crypto? Bitcoin's worth $60,000 or something today. I wish I'd bought some of it. Wish I'd bought anything. Wish I'd bought IBM in 1914, et cetera, et cetera. I doubt it, because historically, if Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies become successful, most governments will outlaw it because they don't want to lose their monopoly. Every government in the world is working on computer money now, including the US. The Chinese are there already. And I cannot imagine that governments are going to say, okay, this is our crypto money, or you can use their crypto money. That's not the way governments work historically. Money is going to be on the computer. It already is in China. In China, you can't take a taxi with money. You got to have the money on your phone. You can't buy ice cream. So it's happening, but I doubt if it's going to be somebody else's money. History shows it will be government. It's a wonderful trading vehicle, apparently. But if it becomes a currency, which is what the crypto people say they are, and they will be, I cannot imagine that any government or many governments in the world will say, okay, you can use our money or their money. That's not what history shows. No, of course not. Anything that the world wants to use is fine with me. But he said the same thing I do. The people are using it as trading vehicles, which is exactly what it is so far. If it becomes a currency, then something else will change. No, there's no question that what he said about it's like, I mean, you cannot go down to the shop and buy bread with gold right now. You cannot go down to the shop and buy bread with Bitcoin either right now. But history would indicate that silver and gold probably have a better future because they're not trying to compete with the dollar or the yen or something else, something like that. Well, I know that always in the past, if you print staggering amounts of money and borrow staggering amounts of money, it leads to inflation. It always has. I don't see any reason that it won't this time. I can already see that inflation is happening. Go down to the shop, Michelle, you know, education, insurance, just about everything, entertainment, just about everything. Prices are going up a whole lot. Governments lie about inflation and they have incentive to lie about it, so they do. No, look out the window. There's inflation, whether we like it or not, and it seems to be getting worse. Well, my way is to buy commodity indexes because by definition, if cotton goes up, if copper goes up, that's inflation. And if you own the commodity indexes, you are participating, you're part of it.